Now this is the loadout. It's Gauss grenade, fear gas, cryofoam, distract, EMP, and stealth. In stealth, you want to make sure that you have battle display. This activates your power regen. The other powers that you use don't matter. I recommend something like Bunker Buster and something like cryofoam. The other three trays, not important. I have EMP in here, but I'm not using it. Why am I not using EMP? Even though they made it so that you could use it. Because when you are in stealth stance, you don't have a damage modifier. You're not going to rake in EMP's total damage capacity if you use it from stealth. I recommend you don't do that. And I'll show you here. I'm going to go do a single target. I'm going to go into stealth stance. I'm going to use EMP from it, and you'll see something along the lines of maybe 30k, maybe late 20s, maybe early 40s, but definitely in the 30k range. Now I'm going to wait for this to come off cooldown, and you're going to see that from coming straight out of stealth, my damage range is going to be anywhere from the upper 30s, definitely in the 40s, and possibly the early 50s. And I'm talking about K, like 40k, 50k. There is a huge difference depending on your perspective, but do not use EMP from within stealth if you are scorecard chasing. I don't recommend that you do that. Get the modifier, come out of stealth, and again, I'm using Bunker Buster or foam. At the very beginning, at the initial start of the rotation, if you have Bunker Buster like built up from your base or whatever, go ahead and pop it, but first hit battle display, then hit Bunker Buster. If you don't have a Bunker Buster, and at the very beginning or as the fight progresses, hit cryofoam. Those two will bring you out of stealth, and then you hit EMP. Boom, you got yourself a modifier, and you're hitting harder. So I'll demonstrate that here real quick. And this one I even crit. Of course, distract to EMP is pretty easy to understand. Always make sure you hit distract first and then EMP. And now for my three powers, the three PIs. I'm using Gauss, fear gas, and foam. Now, it doesn't matter whether you have foam at the end, which I do, or at the very beginning. What matters is you never use cryofoam right after Gauss grenade, and I'll show you why. Here's Gauss, here's foam, and here's fear gas, and then my EMP. And there you see poop damage. I did not get an AM hit. Why did that happen? Well, that's because cryofoam, which inflicts frostbite, stole the burning PI that was supposed to be set up by fear gas. Is that a bug? Why is it doing that? Well, that's because cryofoam inflicts two power interactions. By itself, it's frostbite. When you use it with the power interactions that the gadget's power set takes advantage of, it sets up another, which is burning. That's why it took it. It got registered as taking burning. So what I recommend you do is you do Gauss, and then fear gas, then foam, then EMP. Gauss and fear gas. That Gauss grenade electrified targets, right? Gauss electrifies, fear gas applies burning on electrified targets. That's how its power interaction gets set up. You do that, you get tagged. You then hit foam. Foam inflicts frostbite by itself. You got yourself another tag, and now you can go ahead and do EMP. It doesn't matter whether you use foam at the end or the beginning when you're using it with fear gas. Just make sure it's Gauss, then fear gas first. So here's foam first, Gauss, fear gas, EMP. That's all you gotta know with that. Now this loadout, this entire loadout, is multi-target. You will deal more damage on 2 or more targets. As long as you are hitting a minimum of 2 targets, alright, doesn't matter whether it's 3 or 8, as long as it's a minimum of 2, you are netting 2 targets worth of damage on the scorecard. If you only attack 1, you are reducing your damage out range by half. So make sure you hit at least 2 targets. The other thing with this is that you don't have to, especially after the game update 55 changes, you don't have to hit a target. With here, I'm doing it just to show you. I'm going to turn this camera around. The AoE is making sure that I'm hitting the target behind me. Hopefully you'll see the yellow numbers. Or just look at my log. Battle display is being kept up, and I'm also registering my tags. And I'm not hitting any targets. The only thing that's hitting hold on, I messed that up. The only thing that's hitting the sparring target is EMP, and that's because of its range. I think I lagged out there for a second. So again, you don't have to hit a target at all. As you make your way to an NPC, let's say I'm over here, basically showing you the mobility. I'll show you that again because sometimes it has a habit of lagging me out while I make these videos and I have to start all over. So I'm going to wait for my stealth to become available and then I'm going to pop it. What I'm going to do is I'll be at a distance, pop these powers, and then I'm going to go ahead and lunge in right after CryoFoam. That right there, what I'm trying to show you is the mobility of using this loadout. There is a 3-second window from the last power that you use to EMP or P dart. So within that window, as long as you hit those 3 powers, and let's say I was back here again, I go ahead and I lunge, hit EMP right away, and you'll deal the damage. Between powers 1, 2, and 3, there is these powers right here. There's a 2-second window, and that 2 to 3 seconds, it's definitely around 2, and then from foam to EMP is 3 seconds. How do I know that Gauss to fear gas to foam has a 2-second window? Well, that's because fear gas channeling lasts 2 seconds, and before this update you had to, you literally had to jump cancel fear gas in order to register the tags because the windows were short. And now I'm not going to channel it, and just watch. And you saw the damage register. Again, that's because you don't need to jump cancel anymore. However, I do recommend that you continue to do it, because if you're sitting there and channeling for 2 seconds, you're literally reducing your DPS. So continue to jump cancel. If for whatever reason you can't, then just continue to channel. But if you're going after damage, literally DPS, cancel it. You have to move quick. Now, I showed you the lunge. The other thing too that you could do is the mobility of this. What I was doing there is jumping, jump moving. This thing. When you hit a power, press X or spacebar and you'll move. And you can even do that with EMP. However, if you press EMP and then jump, wherever the spot was that you cast it, that's where EMP is going to spread out its damage. That's why I lunge first and then I hit it. So remember, you could do this. And there's your damage. I'm trying to remember what else I'm supposed to say, because this is kind of a quick video I wanted to do. Oh, there's another loadout that you can use too, except this one I'm still working on, because in this one more of my power points are spec'd into the other tree, which doesn't give you the 5% critical attack damage. This one gives you, I think it's 3% attack chance. No, it's 1% critical attack chance. And what this one is with EMP, foam, and vortex. This one, it's different because I'm just going to confirm for you that it will hit EMP. The reason why I'm using foam still is because foam is a really strong DOT, and you want to use this because you could stand anywhere and cast it. Napalm and Vortex Cannon, their base damage was buffed in Game Update 54. So when you look at their base damage and you add them two together, they deal more damage on 2 targets or more in a multi-target situation than something like Fear Gas. That's why I use it. Now I still have to play around with it. The only thing that you really kind of have to sit there and calculate is the 5% critical attack damage that I lost from speccing into the other tree, which, if all my other tests have shown me, it's that the reduction is not that significant when you're looking at it over a long period of time. But the damage that's being dealt by both of these powers, which are both burst, Napalm and Vortex Cannon, again, both burst abilities. Vortex Cannon benefiting from the fact that it sets up its own PIs and does additional 50% more damage with the PI buff. And then of course Napalm benefits from frostbitten targets, and foam benefits from explosive damage from burning targets. When you're looking at it, look at it from within a raid scenario on an NPC and the amount of time it takes to reduce their health. Something like this would usually benefit more than something like Fear Gas. So that's something I still have to play around with. I'm just mentioning that here because this is another loadout that you can try and play around with. EMP and P-Dart will do around 80% of your damage. Foam comes in, I don't remember my exact numbers, I think it was around 8%. Something like Gauss Grenade comes in at 3%, and then Fear Gas I think also came in around 4 or something percent. I don't have my notes in front of me, but foam usually brings in a higher percentage, and that's because of its DOT and of course the fact that it resets burning on its own. Like, it can take advantage of that, as well as Fear Gas, but foam has this other thing that I'll talk about some other time. Gauss usually comes in less because there's only a certain amount of damage that you can do. In other words, getting a piece of the pie, right, when everybody else is eating it. I think I covered everything. If there's any questions or whatever, leave messages or some comments either in the YouTube or in my thread.